Hey, this is Glynn Hodges. I have the privilege of being with Dr. Lamar Brown, who is the principal of the Catoosa Performance Center in Catoosa County, Georgia, which we're in Chattanooga at Barnes & Noble, where Gary Highfield has had a book signing for his book, When Want To Becomes Have To. Dr. Brown is one of the pilot programs of Gary Highfield's mentoring program for children from single parent homes. Dr. Brown, could you share with us a little bit about the program and the success that you're having?
First of all, our school's a non-traditional high school. We have students at our school that are there for various reasons. They couldn't get along at their home school, or they've got situations going on in their life that causes them to need a smaller environment. Our kids are not there because they're in trouble. They're there because they have troubles. And so Gary came in one day and said, "Hey, I'd like to share with your group." I looked at him, talked to him, read his book, checked out his background and everything, and he fit right in with our students. So what we did was we identified 14 students that would meet with Gary on a weekly basis, read his book. Now, mind you, he wants a group of non-readers to read a book, okay? So, and what happened is once, one or two of them started reading it, coming in, sharing with Gary concerning the book, more and more folks read the book, and so he's meeting with them on a weekly basis, and we're seeing some change in the students.
Now, Gary talks about want to, which that's, the title of his book is When Want To Becomes Have To. So how do you identify those kids that have want to?
Well, it's interesting you say that. Our school's for at-risk students. My first year there, I had a meeting with a group of parents, and I asked them, name some words that you would say that kind of identified our school. And one of the mothers said, well, a student has to be motivated to be there, okay? So, motivated's a word that's kind of vague. I mean, there's a wide range of motivation. So the students that meet with Gary on a weekly basis, they're motivated, but what is motivation? I mean, sometimes they don't even know what motivated means. They're still in school, they're still fighting the good fight, but they don't know how to fight the fight. And that's a lot of what Gary's sharing with them is, first of all, giving them a vision of what's out there for them, of what could happen, and second of all, motivating them just on simple things like, hey man, this is what happened to me, and in my life, this same type of thing can happen to you. But you have to stay motivated and on course to do it.
Well, I think he's a great guy to do it. After reading the book several times, and I read this book in a morning call, Motivation Here, I came up with the phrase, if Gary can, you can. And I think it is a great foundation for giving people hope. People that say, but you just don't have it as bad as I do. You wouldn't understand. Do your children come from a much worse background than Gary's?
Well, just a couple things about Gary's background. When you look at how many times, how many different stepfathers he had, and how many different schools he went to, that is not uncommon, okay? Now, his life might be, his childhood and everything might have been, identified as at risk, but that's not uncommon. I mean, we got 14-year-old girls having babies. We've got guys that don't know who their mom and dads are, all kinds of different things. But, in my own life, my mom had to drop out of high school because she had me when she was 17. It is not, everybody's got something in their background that caused, that could have forced them in an at-risk road. The thing is, I like what Gary's, like even in the picture here, it shows a boot and a shoe. That's not a stopping point. It shouldn't be a stopping point. And personally, I don't believe in cycles. I don't believe in the cycle just because my mom and dad did this, I have to be this way. And that's one thing I preach there, and that's one of the reasons I work at that school is because I don't believe in that. I believe that any generation can rise above the last generation. And I know Gary probably talks the same way to his kids. I talk to my kids this way. You know, I say, you know, nobody gets to choose who their moms and dads are, okay? But we get to choose when we are moms and dads how we treat our children, and we get to choose what we want to do. So, you know, and I think one thing Gary does, he talks to them about not limiting themselves, which is difficult in our area because, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't know I could leave Catoosa County. When I'd watch the Atlanta Braves on TV, I didn't know I could go to Atlanta Braves game. Well, I didn't know I could go, you know, Cincinnati was just 5 hours away. I thought Cincinnati was 1,000,000 miles away and Atlanta was 500,000 miles away. I mean, so that's the kind of thing Gary, I think, does with these students is give them a vision of, you know, if this can be you.
He gives them vision, he gives them hope. And as Gary says in the book, it doesn't matter who your daddy is, it doesn't matter who your mama is. And Dr. Brown's an example of that. This is Glynn Hodges saying thank you for being with us today. Stay tuned for this next video, and I think that Dr. Brown may share something with you that you'll be interested in learning. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next video.